I'm Diane Banks. Thanks for waking up early with us, grabbing a little coffee. And this week is Gemma Nissan. Gemma is a woman who never stops, according to her friend Nora Kelvey, who nominated her. Both of them are from Elk Grove Village. She started PIFFA, Pay It Forward for Autism, asks nothing in return for her help. She goes to IEPS and many, many meetings to help advocate for children with all special needs, not just autism spectrum. She has her own health issues, but never says no to anyone in need, and all she asks is that you pay it forward. Help be a note taker at another person's meeting, help out at the free camp she runs over the summer. There's so much that she's done for the families that did not have a place to turn for help, and she drives all over the Chicago area and surrounding suburbs. So, with that lovely introduction, welcome, Gemma.
Oh, thank you.
Now, did I say your last name right? How do you pronounce your last name?
Nissan.
Oh, it's Nissan. Okay.
We answer to anything. With a name like Gemma and Nissan, I answer to everything.
Okay. Yeah, see, I'm calling you like the car here, Nissan or whatever. You probably get some of that, too.
Yeah, we wish. We wish.
Now, you are, let's see, you're both in Elk Grove Village. And now, did you know she was going to nominate you for this? That's such a nice note she wrote.
No, I'm totally surprised. So
good.
I had no idea.
Well, good. And let's see, now, you and I chatted a little bit briefly off air. Now, you have a son, and you told me you also have a pet guinea pig. So tell me about your little guy, who's all grown up, actually, and your pets.
My son is named Stefan, and he's 14, and we have a guinea pig because I developed allergies to our dogs. So,
oh no,
yeah. But we have a guinea pig, Kirby, and definitely Kirby rules the house. So he's like, and it's been a great little pet. I never really knew about guinea pigs, so he's been a great little pet for my son, and.
Yeah, remember those from the school days, and they're really sweet. They're like bunnies almost, aren't they? And they're like the things they eat and all that.
Yeah, they're great. And my son grows fresh carrots out in the backyard and cilantro and stuff. So, and it's all organic for Kirby. So, like I said, he really does rule the house. Yeah, it's funny.
Kirby's very lucky. And what's your son's name?
Stefan.
Okay. And, you and I were also chatting off air about the lovely photo, which our listeners can see. And there you'll see Gemma holding an adorable baby. And now your son, Stefan, you were telling me, took this picture. It's beautiful.
Yeah, he took it on his DSi, which I didn't know could take such a good picture. So
the kids teach us, don't they? They know all the electronic stuff.
Yeah, and he's now taking a photography class with the NWSRA, which is the co-op of all the Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. It's been a really great class for him, and right now he's off playing basketball, and later on they'll compete for Special Olympics. And it's been really great for his self-esteem, and it's wonderful. I can't say enough for the NWSRA. It's a really great program for the kids.
Well, go, Stefan. He took a beautiful photo. So photography, definitely a future for him, I think.
Yeah, I thought, it's funny because they always say, I don't want to play basketball or I don't want to take the photography class. And all I ever ask of him is, I want you to try.
Yes.
And he started with the basketball last year, and he just fell in love with it. And same with the photography class. He's like, Mom, I'm really glad you asked me to try it because he really is enjoying it now. So.
See, yeah, you're just gently nudging him towards things that he might like.
Right, exactly.
And before we talk more about you, Gemma, and the wonderful works that you're doing now, who is that adorable little baby girl in the photo with you?
Oh, it's funny. This is my brother's friend's baby little girl, Sadie. And I'm originally from Florida, and my brother's friend lives up here now, and my brother's 10 years younger, so it's just amazing to me to see his friend with their little kids, because I used to babysit them.
Isn't that crazy, right?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not feeling very young right now. Because they're all grown up having their little babies now, so.
I know, it's like, oh my gosh, I know my niece just had a baby, and I'm like, I remember changing your diapers. What
exactly.
Right? Too fast.
Yeah, it's wild because my brother and my son really look a lot alike, and my son will do things that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what Uncle Mario used to do. It's amazing how they do things like each other.
So now, one of the things that your friend Nora was mentioning to us was, and I don't know how much detail you want to go into here, and you were telling me too, actually, in your email, some of the health issues that you're having in addition to all this other good work you're doing. So extra good on you. What's going on with you?
Well, I have lupus, so sometimes it will, things pop up, and I just have a lot of different things, but I think the one thing, I just don't ever let it get me down. So I'm not the kind of person that's going to stay in bed. I just keep really busy, and actually what I do, I think, really helps my health issues because I keep so busy that, I always tell everyone, I'm like that song, I don't have time for the pain. So it keeps me going, and I think of all our kids with all the different issues that they have, and even my friends' kids who are diabetics and have little pumps connected to them or have to give themselves shots and stuff, and I'm like, if they can do it, so can I. So that's kind of my outlook on it. Our kids get up every day and they work through so many things that they have to deal with, and I'm like, who am I to complain? And so I kind of like, they're my little heroes, and so I just do the same. I'm like, all right, I got to keep going. If these kids can keep going and move on, and I'm encourage them to do so, I'm going to have to do the same thing too. So I really believe if you keep busy and you have a positive attitude, there's nothing that can stop you from going on. And I just,
That's yeah.
I'm not a good patient, according to my doctor. I'm a very nice patient, but I'm not good about following up with them sometimes. But
well, it sounds like that's such a good attitude to have, Gemma. I know you're so busy that you got to make time for the doctor visits and all that stuff.
Right.
But what you say with the kids too, it's so true, and it's so hard when you see them because you feel like it's especially unfair when you're so young and you're just starting out to have to deal with all of that. But yeah, for sure they're an inspiration. Talk to us a little bit about Pay It Forward for Autism. How you got involved and how you got that started.
It started when my son was little. My family background is my parents were both educators, and my dad eventually ended up being a superintendent for the state of Florida. And so when my son was diagnosed, it hits you like there's no other pain that hits you more, because we try to protect our children.
Sure.
And you hear these words, and I go through it with a lot of the parents I work with. A lot of times the doctors don't even kind of tell you. So when we first found out, they're like, oh, he's got, hyperlexia, and I'm like, okay. And every time we would look up the word, autism kept popping up. And I literally had to call the person. I'm like, is our child autistic?
Well, is that, now what you just said, is that the same thing?
It's a precocious ability to read and to do mathematics and to do, it's a fascination with that and an ability to do that. And that's what our son would do. That was kind of like our warning sign that my background was in social work, and my son would love to write letters and numbers and kind of would like to read the menus at restaurants. And he was 3 or 4, and he was 3, and my friends were like, what's your problem? He's really smart. And I'm like, well, he doesn't like to play with other kids. He's just doing these things. That's not normal. So when I had him tested, that was his first diagnosis. And then they still didn't want to tell us. And so I was like, okay, he's autistic. So we were fortunate enough to get him into a wonderful school. But, at first people just don't want to say those words to you as a parent.
That's but that's sort of a concern, isn't it? When you would think, now the doctor, that's probably a good thing for them to be.
Well, it was very different when my son was first diagnosed. It was 1 in 10,000.
Right.
And now you've got the 1 in 150. And it's very different, my experience, as to what parents are going through now.
Okay, right, because you're talking, you're 14 years ago, right.
Right.
Okay.
And what's offered is very different, but we're still going through the same emotions. And actually,
sure.
I kind of think it's almost scarier for parents, because I think there's a lot of snake oil being sold out there.
Wow.
So we have to be really careful, because you've got so many different oh, try this, and people are talking about recovery and cure and this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so we have to be careful of how we approach it. And I really want to say, it's not that I wouldn't want a cure. I would want my child to be the best, but I approach it in a different way, is that I want my child to be the best that he can be at being him. And I would love to help him get rid of the things that bother him the most, his sensory or being able to focus or yeah. But it's a hard line.
So in other words, so what you're advocating then with Pay It Forward is helping the kids to be the best that they can be at who they are, rather than, well, let's get a cure. Let's focus on where the future would be, rather than let's let them be who they are.
Right. Well, the one thing that we focus on, I think, different than other groups, is education.
Okay.
Because the one thing that we can be sure of with any child, whether they're autistic, have cerebral palsy, have Down syndrome, whatever their learning disability is that with a proper education, you are going to improve. And that goes with any child.
Right.
So we really believe that if you have a good education, you're going to have a great stepping stone for your child. And in education and having these IEPs, when you look at it, it's just, you're not preparing them just to be educating on the reading and the writing. You're looking at teaching them for further employment and for living independently, and that's my big pet peeve. I want our kids to be independent, viable people in our society, which I know they can be. And so I'm searching for all those Annie Sullivans, because our children are all potential Helen Kellers.
Right.
They are out there, and it was through education that Annie Sullivan helped Helen Keller.
Right.
And so that I know for a fact, if you have a good, sound education, and we teach parents how to get that their kids can be the best that they can be. That I guarantee you. I can't tell you for a fact, because we don't know if there's a magic pill that poof is going to do that. But I can tell you that a solid education and the proper education for your child is definitely going to help.
Do you find that is the direction that things are going? Obviously, that's what you want as well. And in terms of what you've seen over the last 14 years since your son was born?
Well, for me, I mean, that's been our focus, has been the education, but I think the education has been a problem is because, well, for Illinois, I don't know if you know, we are 50th, and we've been 50th for services in the educational department and for services out of all the states. And we've been 51st before. We've been, you say 51st.
Oh, boy.
We've been behind.
Oh, Gemma,
so
not good.
Problem.
Right.
Yeah,
not good.
When you're behind and you have great agencies that are not being paid and not being able to service these communities, it's really up to the parents, and that's why we have this group, and that's why we are so busy, is because parents really need our help, because great places like Clearbrook, they're not getting paid. Great places, the Kenneth Young Center, they're not getting paid by the state. And so you have all these people who are supposed to be servicing who aren't even allowed to service or can't even service. They're not even being paid by our state. So,
oh gosh,
yeah.
I know.
So we've always been at the bottom of the barrel. I think one time during Stefan's schooling, we were like 48th or something. So, and there's also a big misunderstanding. We really need to educate, and that's another emphasis of our group. I know that I have a good relationship with different school districts, and I have a good relationship with teachers and other staff. We invite them to come to our meeting for our summer camp. We have teachers and different other educators, music therapists who come and they help us with our staff. We have future teachers who come and volunteer with us, and that's what we're trying to get. We're trying to get the community to understand, because the one thing I always tell parents is, I can guarantee you one thing, and they're all look at me and what is it, Gemma? I go, we are going to die. That I can guarantee you.
Right.
We're going to die, and so we need to let society know that our kids are awesome, and that either they're going to be working for someone or they're going to be working for our kids. Either way, they all need to learn and understand, to work together and how wonderful our kids are, and to be together in society, because they are going to be, and we're not going to be there the whole entire time.
Right.
So,
and it's great to hear your passion when you talk about it too. I want to pass along the website so our listeners can take a peek while we're chatting. It's piffa.org, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So with Pay It Forward, Gemma, now if folks contacted you, they have a child with autism or they know someone who does, when they contact you at Pay It Forward, they can come then and for support services, for education, summer camp, things like that.
We have monthly meetings at the Elk Grove Library the first Thursday, and on the website it lists the different topics that we have. And that's really based on what the parents are asking us, or what they're telling us, we need to learn more about this, we need to learn more. So that we base it on what the needs are in the community, what they're telling us. So we have different speakers who come out, and we've been lucky, they all do it for free. So,
yay.
so good. We run at a very little budget. We're 5 moms of children who are on the spectrum, so... and then the summer camp this year was our 6th year in doing it. And again, 5 crazy moms taking this on. It's completely volunteer-based. So everyone who works the camp is a volunteer. And the only time a volunteer doesn't come back is because they have moved. It's totally awesome. And we also have a relationship with the Elk Grove High School Senior National Honor Society. Every year takes us on, and they do like a bake sale. We have a Autism Awareness Week where we do education to the kids, and I get up and I do skits with the kids to try to make them aware. And then it was, I think now are they junior class board? Junior class board does, this year, I don't know, we might change it from a walk to more of like a fundraiser where they get together. And really, we don't, our walk is kind of funny because it's really not a walk. It's more of like the high school kids get together and they play with our kids. And again, once again, that's what it is.
That's okay.
Getting to know our kids.
Yes, that's a play
totally
date,
awesome.
right?
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's totally so awesome. And they come, and a lot of those kids who are from the Elk Grove High School come and volunteer at our camp as well, and they just love it, and we just love, and I love the relationship that I have had with these kids because it started with the freshman class board that graduated last year, so it was really sad. I was like, oh my gosh, they're all grown up now. So they all graduated last year, but now it has continued on, so we keep getting adopted by them, and so it's a nice relationship. And these are the kids who are going to be with our kids. These are their friends, and they sincerely care about each other because we have kids in the camp that start at 4. We are crazy, so we have from 4, and then there is a special group that work with a special ed teacher that is a junior and high school group that he had previously through District 214 that he works with. And so it goes all the way up to 18.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are
well,
crazy.
And, and like you said, I mean, it's perfect for the name, Pay It Forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that you mentioned, too, I just want to touch on here quickly for those of us who aren't familiar with that. You mentioned the moms and then with the kids on the spectrum. What does that mean?
Well, with autism is so huge, the spectrum is so huge. It could be something called pervasive developmental delay is considered to be on the spectrum of autism, and then they have Asperger's, which is, now there's a controversy. Is it autism? Is it a cousin of autism, which is a very, very high form of autism? I'm not going to get into that. I just say help whoever it is, whether they have Asperger's, autism, whatever you want to call it, help them out.
Right.
Because now that's a whole big thing that they're trying to change how it's diagnosed. And there's high functioning and lower functioning, and I think they separate that whether the child can talk or not. So, but to me, some of my most intelligent children are the ones who don't talk in the way that we expect them to talk, but they can talk via assistive technology advice, using a talker, so, and that's what we're there for. If you have a good education, we will help you advocate for your child to help you find your child's voice. To me, there's nothing more exciting than to help a parent find a voice for their child. There's a friend of mine for years and years and years. We've worked on, we got to help your child find a voice, and her child is blind and autistic, and it took us year after year, perseverance, and this mom, I helped her advocate for her child, and it was just last year that finally found the right communication device for this child, the right Annie Sullivan for this child. She never gave up, and now he communicates during this, using this one particular talking device, and now he's found his voice.
Oh, that's
so you
wonderful.
Just don't give up. Oh, yeah. I
Gemma,
cried like
you know
a baby all the way home after we went.
Gemma, I hate to cut you off here. We only have like a minute left. So I just want to, again, mention the website, piffa.org. If our listeners can donate, I'm sure you guys can use the funds and volunteer as well. And quickly, how many families are you seeing and are you working with right now?
It depends. I've done over hundreds of IEPs.
Wow.
I stopped counting, and we'll, hopefully keep going on as,
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I wish we had more time. It always goes too fast. But Gemma Nissan,
so much.
So nice to talk to you today. And please say hi to Nora Calvi for us.
I sure will. She's awesome.
And your son, Stefan, and your guinea pig. Oh, I forgot your guinea pig's name already. Kirby. Okay. Well, take good care. Thanks again for talking to us. And again, the website, piffa.org.
Thank you.
Again, my guest, Gemma Nissan from It Forward For Autism. I'm Diane Banks. Take care. I'll talk to you next weekend.